poppin' party people? Anasi X here, and welcome to Silver Screening. Today we just got done watching The Prince of Egypt.
Classic.
Yeah, it is. Honestly, it's ridiculous how well that movie still holds up.
I know, it is 2022.
Yeah, this movie came out in 2000, I think.
Wait, you serious?
Yeah, I think the movie came out in 2000.
Good lord.
Had a rock solid cast. The music is still great to this
Oh
day.
no, it still holds up. It still holds up. That's gotta be the best soundtrack to me.
Yeah, I have a good chunk of the music on my phone to listen to in the morning.
No,
And-
1998.
Oh, 98?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, no, I was 4 when this movie came out.
That was 5.
It was, and, it's like, yeah, went out and it's interesting to think about when it comes to, like, movies of this caliber, because Prince of Egypt, for those of you who don't know, is a movie about Exodus, the book of Exodus, featuring Moses from the Bible, of the Christian Bible.
Yeah.
Not Christian Bible, just the Bible, because I remember the Old Testament is in the
Yeah.
Old Testament of that. I'm getting confused here, but basically, it tells the story of Moses and his journey to free the slaves from Pharaoh.
Yes.
And there are, and in my mind, this is the only movie that there's really that you can really watch in the 2 different mindsets.
Yeah, no, you can't because again, if you're not into religion, it's still overall a good movie because just from the start of it, like you can feel every emotion, especially from Moses' actual birth mother, like her feeling and how she's feeling throughout this traumatic experience, seeing like her own people getting like tortured and babies thrown into the ocean. And she's trying to protect her own baby, and as she's singing to her baby and lets him go into this little basket,
Yeah.
you feel her emotion.
Yeah, and then it's like even before that, the movie opens up on the slaves building.
Oh yes, right, yes.
These building these great monuments to
yeah.
Pharaoh and the Egyptian gods.
That hurt me.
And just watching just how brutal is depicted. Like they're working in the hot sun, they're being whipped.
Yeah.
They're working all.
And they're getting yelled at too.
And they're getting yelled at, yeah.
They're getting yelled at like.
And it's just the kind of cruelty that is on display that you feel it. It's not even played as a joke.
No, it's not.
It is played completely 100% straight.
Most of the moments in here are serious, and there are little moments that they do have where, like funny humor moments, but it's placed in the right moments at the right time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like, that one very emotional, and when the plague hit, that was powerful.
Oh, the plagues, because the entire song isn't even focused on the plagues.
Yeah.
Like you see in the background if you're watching the movie, but the entire song is basically focused on Moses and Ramses and just the fact that if Ramses had just, and we're getting a little bit hit here, but if Ramses had just been more level-headed and just not had his followers pointing to the back of his head, this would not have escalated as far as it has. You have fire raining from the sky, you have locusts eating bread and famine hitting cattle, and all of it leading up and up and up. And the song itself leads into the final plague that finally breaks it.
Yeah.
And before we get to that, so let's rewind a bit, right?
Yeah.
So after we see the killing of the Hebrews,
Yes.
and Moses' mother set him sail down the river where his older sister watches him. He ends up floating up to the Pharaoh's palace. Which, by the way, can I just say, thank God they made the Egyptians black in this movie.
Yeah, because man, when I told him that there was a movie they did with Egyptians and they were all white, I didn't understand why.
It was Clash of Gods. It was all white. It had like, I forget the advertising was all over. You had like this guy with this bright golden armor, these big golden wings, and I'm like, this movie looks so.
It was all white folks, and I was like, why?
It's
Egyptians are not they're not even that color.
Egypt is on the African continent, people.
So what does that mean?
It means that they're probably black.
There you go.
So I'm just glad that they depicted that they actually physical depictions. But yes, I know a lot of the voice actors are not black or not. But that gets into my point. When it comes to animation, you can be as true to life as you want,
Yes.
and then cast the best actors you can in the
Yes.
roles. And right, it was 1998. I'm sure that if this movie's made nowadays, with the same style, same mindset, same everything, they
Yeah.
probably would find better
Yeah.
actors who
But-
were of the ethnicity
but-
they're trying to play. But still,
But I'm gonna say this, and I'll let you finish. I don't think there's anybody else that can play those characters because I felt every emotion
Yeah.
on each of those characters. The fact that Val Kilmer playing Moses
Yeah.
/ God,
Yeah.
and then Sandra Bullock playing his sister, and Michelle Pfeiffer, I believe, playing his mother.
yeah,
I might be wrong on that one. And Patrick Stewart playing
Pharaoh.
the Pharaoh. I'm just like, whoa! I feel every emotion in these characters.
and one thing, it's a rock solid cast.
It is. It
Um,
is.
And you know, and the thing about it is the cast. I think in the recording booth they actually have the animations playing while they're recording.
Yeah.
So when the man playing Ramses is in the throne, I love this scene. I love this scene because okay, we're getting too far ahead. But you know, after we get done with the opening scene, we have Moses a few years later grown up and going chariot racing with his brother, essentially hot rodding with his brother,
Yeah.
right? And they have like all these comedic elements where it's like, yeah, you've always been looking up to me, haven't you? It's like, yeah, but I like the view. You have like this shot of him with his skirt.
Yeah. I was like, that moment was that was hilarious. I just loved it. And then right after like the chariot race, then it cuts to a serious moment with the Pharaoh.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, y'all done an excellent job on how to keep the different feels on point.
And it's goal that it's like, and right off the bat, it gets one thing right: the dynamic between Moses and Ramses.
Yeah.
Because these two are legitimately brothers as far as they're concerned.
Yeah, but they're two different people.
And yeah, they're two different people. But it's like you know, Ramses is constantly worried about his perception, but with Moses he can just come do himself. So when they get done having their chariot race, he's like, "Do you think Dad will find out?" It's like, "No, he'll never know." And then it cuts immediately to Patrick Stewart as Pharaoh Seti.
Why
have
the guts?
Cursed me with two. It was two. I forget exactly what it was, but it's basically he says, "Why can't you two just not stress me out?"
Yeah.
And you know, it all goes on. And Moses, being the decent brother, actually sticks up for Ramses, saying that it was all me.
Yes.
But what Moses doesn't understand is that Ramses is the next pharaoh.
Yes.
And we see set up at the inciting incident of this that Seti is in the back of Ramses' mind.
Yes.
It's like, it doesn't matter if it was you. He's still going to be Pharaoh.
Yeah.
He has to conduct himself a certain way, or else this whole thing comes crashing down.
Moses doesn't have to do that.
Yeah.
He's on this line.
And there's a fantastic scene after that where, like, you know, Ramses walks off and Moses looks at the axe and is like, why are you so hard on him? You know it was me. And Teddy goes, yes, I know, but you will never have to put up with the responsibility
That is true.
that Ramses does. So Seti is not, Seti's not an evil character. He's not.
Not yet.
Even when, and I know what you're talking about, and we'll get to that in a second, but I feel like even with that scene, I don't think, I really do not think he's evil. I think what the issue is that we see what the problem with this kind of family lineage hierarchy is. The pressure comes down lower and lower and lower, and it just drives you crazy.
Yeah, but I feel like in that moment though, he had a choice to not do that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with that at all.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting, and what he's talking about is later on in the scene, like, you know, after Moses has his big, you know, and, you know, Moses, you know, suggests that Seti gives Ramses a chance, and you know that leads into a scene later where Seti does give Ramses, that he makes him chief priest, which is basically like an underlord essentially.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the actual term they use in Egypt, but I think
Yeah.
it's like basically like it's like one step below king. Either way, he gives Ramses this big responsibility. Moses is introduced to Zipporah. She escapes. He meets him. He runs into his brother and sister after so long. They basically flip his worldview upside down.
Yes.
And Seti, and we'll come back to those in a second. And then Seti in a hieroglyph chamber where he sees the sins laid bare.
Yeah.
After having this fantastic dream sequence where they actually have him
that
paint
was
in hieroglyphs, where it's kind of like
that was amazing.
where even though it's a different art style, you actually understand what the nightmare is, because everyone's got a nightmare. You know how stiff you kind of feel, how off you kind of feel from your own body,
exactly.
and how they convey the animation. The animation is on point. We'll get to that in a second, but it's also going to do in a second. But it's like he goes to the hieroglyphs to see what happened, right? And Seti's there, and Seti literally says,
"Oh my son, they were only just slaves."
No, not even that. It's like for sometimes for the greater good.
Oh yeah,
sacrifices must be made. And in that moment, I don't know if you know this, but in that moment when he says sacrifices, his eyes go wide because, and usually, and this is just how I'm interpreting the scene. Whenever you see a character's eyes go wide, that is less them talking to somebody else and more them trying to convince themselves they didn't make a bad choice.
Yeah, but I think,
and you can see that it drove him nuts making that choice.
But I'm glad you said it, because in my mind, when somebody says that, I think that's dangerous.
No. I understand. I do agree that it is dangerous, but I love how they did it, because in that moment, and this is like why I love this movie so much.
Yeah.
Even if you take away the religious connotations from it, you see that we're in a situation where, as far as each character is concerned, up to a point. No, I mean, yeah, even throughout the movie, they have to make all these hard decisions for what they think is right.
Yes.
And Seti, in his mind, was making the best decision for his dynasty. But as a person, you could tell it killed him.
Yes. No. Yeah.
And he spent the last however many years justifying it, up and culminating in the line, "My son, they were only slaves."
Yes.
That's how he goes to sleep that night.
That's just crazy.
And I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because it shows that he's not evil. He's just bearing the weight of his crown.
Yeah.
And that is where the real evil is.
Yeah. And then, man, I just, and then what I like after that is how the scene where Moses is still trying to process all this.
Yeah.
And then you see Ramses, I guess he's sitting there trying to get ideas of his statue.
Yeah.
Or he was. You see all these slaves.
Yeah, the gods kept him at night to make a statue.
Yeah, just doing all this hard labor in the hot sun, and Moses just sitting there and see one I guess the head leaders of Ramses just hitting one of these slaves so hard with a whip, and you see the pain,
And you're just whipping him over and over
and you see
over
the,
again.
and you see the pain in that man's face, and Moses' sister tells him, somebody needs to help him, and you see Moses just starts running towards that guy and just throws him off. And I'm getting to a point with this. After that happens, he feels guilty. Moses starts running like crazy. Moses tells Ramsey after Ramsey chased after him. Moses tells him, "You don't get it. I just killed a man." Ramsey tells him, "Oh, we can make it something like it never happened."
Yeah, and it's like, and for context, right? This is, as far as the movie's concerned, this is in the span of 8 hours. He learns of his heritage.
Yes.
He back a little bit further. When he meets Zipporah, he's, they're basically making fun of her.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
And then his adoptive mother looks at him with disappointment because she expects better of him.
Yeah, not Ramsey.
Whereas, because she has basically no say over Ramsey.
Yeah,
but Moses, she basically does.
Yes.
And she expects better of him. So he's basically having to come to terms with the fact that he was being a spoiled brat in that moment.
Yeah.
He has to apologize to her. He basically lied to let her escape. He finds out about his heritage. He sees, well, not about his real family.
Yeah.
He sees what his father actually did.
Yeah.
And then the very next day, he commits murder.
Yes.
In a span of maybe 8
No,
hours. His entire
8
life
hours.
upside down.
That's 8 hours.
And he is basically running out of Egypt.
Yes. And Ramsey is on his chest about Moses.
Because, Ramses is legitimately concerned for his brother. Because no matter what it is, murder is still seen as legal. But as far as Ramses is concerned, he's going to be the next pharaoh.
Yeah.
And in Egyptian culture, the pharaoh is God.
Yeah.
So as far as he's concerned,
where he says go.
Where he says go. He says if I say night and day, then it's written. And he says, you're my brother, you can stay.
Yeah.
But to Moses, that don't mean jack.
Yeah.
On his conscience, he just killed somebody.
Yeah, when he told his friends tomorrow, what you say doesn't matter. I don't have time for this. I can't stay here longer. I felt that.
Yes.
I felt that because Moses understands what he just did.
Yeah.
Ramsey's not seeing the bigger picture here.
Because I guarantee you, if Moses hadn't, I would argue, if Moses had not had all those events happen between that,
Oh, no.
he would have 100% gone with it.
Yeah, of course.
But because his worldview got flipped upside down, that was the breaking point.
Yeah, of course.
As far as he's concerned, he can never go back. He can never go back. So he wanders the desert, and he takes off all of his Egyptian jewelry and memorabilia, but the one ring that Ramses gives him, and then he ends up going to the desert. He finds Zipporah's family and camp and whatnot, and then his life begins a whole new. Fantastic musical number with Through Heaven's Eyes.
Yeah.
And it's just
Danny Glover killed that scene.
Oh, that man killed everything.
That man killed that man Through Heaven's Eyes. I was like, yo. And the fact that like you said, like you said, that's Moses like new life. But at the same time, like he feels happy, he feels free, he doesn't feel like
he feels a weight off his shoulders.
Yeah. Like, and it's just like it's amazing to see it. But the part after all this, like Brad said, after he gets after he's introduced to Zipporah's family, and after he marries her, and actually has a new family and everything. There's one morning he goes out, and Moses does with his staff, and one of the sheep are missing, and he sees them. Goes to this cave. I gotta say, Val Kilmer, who voiced Moses and also voiced God, that burning bush scene was powerful.
And I love how they did the burning bush.
They did. That was a powerful scene. I felt that. I'm about to cry that day too.
Yeah, and it's just. The thing with the burning bush is that in a lot of these instances where they showed the burning bush, they depicted it as this raging, roaring fire. But when Prince of Egypt did it, they were leaning less into the fire and brimstone God, which a lot of Christians love to lean on. That's not who God is. That's just an aspect of who He is. God is seen as the Heavenly Father. So when He walks into this cave, it's this cool, welcoming, ghostly blue flame that you can literally stick your hand in. It doesn't burn you. And he's having this very calm conversation. God is starting off okay. He's starting off calm, and the voice of God is actually Moses' voice, which you can read a lot into that. If you want to, you can read any metaphor you want to into the burning bush. If you're religious, you can read it as God is in everybody. If you're not religious, you can read it as Moses' conscience talking to you. You can read it any way you want to, but at the end of the day, the bush does the one thing that I feel happens in both instances. When you're having this conversation, is always calm at first, and God tells you, I want you to do this, and Moses, rightfully so, I would say, says, I was once the prince of Egypt. I murdered men. I was the son of the man who slaughtered these people's kids. I'm the son of the man who enslaved them. Who am I to talk to these people? You got the wrong person. And that's when the fire and brimstone one comes out.
But the way that he's talking to him, how I perceived it too, was like how he's talking to him like a father talks to his son. And I loved it though. And the movie just like he had that one moment where like guy is like enraged and yelling at him for a couple seconds. For a couple seconds, you see like the lights get brighter, and as soon as he finished yelling at him for a split second, he slowly just calms down and literally brings Moses in him in that light. And I'm just like, wow, that is so powerful. Like he literally brings him to tell him he will always be with him, and he forgives him.
And in that moment, it's like, like the light wraps around. It's like it's the metaphor for God that every Christian loves to say it is. And in that moment, it's the one time I feel these religious movies actually get it right, where it is wrapped around you. It's clothed him. It's embracing him. And when it's all said and done, the light leaves and he's just there by himself. You see a single tear roll down his cheek.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I fully believe that he felt for once in his life, he could forgive himself.
Yeah, no. I saw that and I actually felt the same exact way too. But I also also kind of like thought that he also he also realized he also has a purpose, a true purpose.
Yes.
True because because again, back in Egypt, he really had no purpose.
Yeah.
He was just a son of a pharaoh. That's it.
Yeah.
No purpose.
And at one point he was happy with that.
Yeah, he was happy
but
with
now, you know, and once again, he goes to the desert, finds, you know, this simple life, and he was at one point happy with that.
Yes.
Now comes along, no, there's one more thing. There's a bigger thing for you to do.
Yes.
And then after that scene when he runs back to the camp,
Yes.
I love this scene so much.
No dialogue.
Because there's no dialogue. It's
music.
just music, swelling, the characters moving. You can see that he's telling his wife Zipporah what's going on. She doesn't believe a single thing he's saying. It sounds too amazing, but we never hear his thoughts on it.
But she still supports him though.
He still supports him. But the reason why I bring that up is that too many times the religious movies try to put words to how you feel about it. Put words to what's going on.
Use music.
But at the end of the day, only you know what you feel. And it, honestly, at that point, it really only matters to you. And the movie gets that right.
It does.
Because if you're religious, you feel you can put yourself in that situation. You can kind of infer what you want. But if you're not religious, you can read into whatever you want to read into it in terms of like his body language, his movement. You can read as much joy into it as you want. And then the movie continues onwards from there. It escalates, and then when he gets back to Egypt, this part, oh God, this part gives me goosebumps every single time. He walks into the throne room. Ramses is now on the throne. He's now Pharaoh.
Yeah.
He walks in. Nobody knows it's Moses.
Yeah.
All far as I'm he's just this peasant.
No,
he just got done walking in.
But guys, keep in mind though, again, like you said, Ramses is Pharaoh. Now, everybody high up in the higher class sees a slave, or like just like one of the slaves walking into his own room. At that point, a Pharaoh would have whipped him in front of everybody, and they all would have laughed.
Yeah.
But
Ramses, because as far as Ramses is concerned, that's
his
his brother. He hasn't seen in upwards what a decade at that point.
A decade.
It had to have been at most a decade.
Yeah, a decade.
And he tells the whole position to stop the music, stop the dancing, and he looks like he's seen a ghost.
Yeah.
And the first thing he does is run down the steps and hug his brother as tightly as possible. In the Ten Commandments, Ramses is a dickhead. He's like, who the hell are you? Why are you talking to me like this, Moses? And like, were you guys not brothers at one point? Did you not grow up together?
Yeah.
This movie, we see that these two grew up together, and Ramses in that moment is, above all else, just happy to see his brothers alive.
Exactly.
And then you have, Hotep and Hoi being like, they want to be like, he did kill somebody. It is death, and he goes, we hesitate to say, and Ramses goes, he pulls a movement from his dad.
Silence.
Pharaoh speaks, and he forgives Moses, but for Moses, like, Moses understands the gesture, but he doesn't want his brother to do it because A, it's going to make what's going to happen next harder.
Yes.
And B,
he's not here for that.
He's not here for forgiveness. He already has it.
Yes, God forgave him, and he's here for God, not for you.
Yeah.
And when he tells Ramses to I spoke to the gods, and they command that you let his people go.
And Ramses thinks it's a joke.
Yeah. And the reason why he thinks it's a joke because, like, if you watch the beginning part,
Moses is never serious.
Yeah, he's never serious. Ramses is serious, but like decades ago, when he comes back, when Moses is serious, the roles are reversed.
Ramses is now very much, I won't say he's a jokester, but he's way more lighthearted because now he is Pharaoh. He feels all powerful.
Yes.
Moses is the serious one because he has something else to work for.
Yeah.
And then you get into Play the Big Boys. I love that song sequence because it's not the best one in the movie, but I like how it's like,
interpret.
It's all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, it is. No, it really is.
And and I get it, it's like, depending on what religion you believe in, I get it, but for the purpose of this movie, they're trying to demonstrate that one God is real and the other ones are fake.
Yes.
Moses and Hoy, because, it starts off with, Moses puts his stick down and it turns into a snake.
No.
Moses and Hoy had this whole big song and dance number.
Yes.
They hit their sticks together, a light flashes, and you can infer that either A, their God's magic is too bright for anyone to see, or B, they just swap the sticks out for snakes off screen where no one can see.
But guys, you gotta understand. So like literally, Moses put the staff in front of everybody, like in broad daylight.
Like turn into a snake.
Like if I grab this phone right now and just put it on camera, and this turns to a snake in front of Brad, he's gonna be shocked.
No, I'm walking out the door, man.
Yeah, you're walking out the door.
I'm like, you can have the house
Yeah, yeah. But in the movie, he just puts the step there. Like it's about like 1,000 people in that building or something.
I won't say 1,000, but it's basically the entire upper class group of family.
Yeah,
and even Ramsey to some degree is like, he's actually impressed.
Yeah,
but the thing is that he's impressed.
Yeah,
he's not like, oh crap.
Yeah.
This is not a pants crapping moment.
Yeah, and again, like his assistants, it's just like it's crazy how like you said, like with the smoke and mirror, like people are actually believing them over Moses
because they think it's a magic trick.
But I'm just saying from my perspective. If I see a man coming here and just put a staff down in the middle of the palace and turns to a snake, I'm gonna be shocked.
That one snake eats your two snakes?
Yes, that's a whole.
It's like you got it. It's like at some point you just got it cut. But once again, Ramses is still riding. He's still riding the whole. He is Pharaoh. He is God.
Yes.
And after that, he's like, come talk to me, because Ramses still thinks Moses is joking. It isn't until Moses hands back the ring.
Yeah.
The one thing he held on to all these years to remind himself of home, back to Ramses. That Ramses resolves himself. That no. My brother's not joking, but I have to go against him because he is, and I quote, does not want to be seen as the weak link.
I was going to say that. That part when he's calm at first, and he tells Moses like, I don't know this guy. I've never heard this guy that you speak of as I would never let his people go. And then as Moses is about to say something, like you just said, Ramsey immediately goes off and is like, I would not be seen as the weak link. The weakest link. I was like, yo, this is powerful. I feel this. And then he told Moses, you tell the saints that their work will be done no thanks to their God. Or that maybe thanks to you. I was like, yo.
And it does once again show that if you're religious, you can read. It points out a very important thing that I think a lot of religious folk just don't get. That doing this in service to what you truly believe is not going to be easy.
Yeah.
You can say all you want. He's going to get you through. He's going to get you through. But in that moment,
it's never easy.
It's going to be a pain. But if you're not religious, you can also see it as he's got a lot of work ahead of him.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but I agree with everything you just said too. Because again, it's not easy. I go through it. It's not easy. It's never easy.
Oh no, it's not easy.
But again, my grandfather, like you see the obstacles Moses has to face on this journey, trying to convince his brother.
Yeah, from his own brother too.
Yeah, from his own brother, and even while he's doing this, he's still believing and have faith in God that he's still doing his bidding, but still getting attacked, still getting almost killed by his brother several times, but still has the courageous moments to just stand up to him and tell him over and over again, let my people go. Yeah. And he still thinks this is what Ramsey does. And I'm just like,
it's up until, I would argue, the plagues hit.
Yes.
That Ramsey's like, this is
man, that part hurt me.
Because, they go to, because early in the movie, after Ramsey gets chewed out by Seti, they go to this spot where they can talk and whatnot. But later in the movie, we go back to that spot. And Ramses is up there where he was at the beginning of the movie, and he is furious, he's frustrated, and then they have this bonding moment where Ramses admits that yes, you always got me into trouble, but you were always there to get me out again. And he's like, why can't they go back to the way they were? And I think you see in that moment that they both genuinely want to go back to what they had before.
But they can't though.
But they can't. It's at this point it's not too far.
They both have different purposes.
Well, we're going something further beyond that. They both have different voices in the back of their head.
Yeah, of course.
And they both the voices are telling them, you have to keep doing this specific thing.
Yeah.
And it is, and I think for Ramses, and I think in that moment, as far as the movie's depicting it, Ramses was actually probably fully ready to let Moses have what he wanted until his son showed up.
Oh no! I know that, and that pissed me off.
But it does make sense.
No, it does, yeah, because again, like I can imagine if he was to give Moses what he wanted, his son would have said something that would have made Ramses pissed off.
Yeah.
And in the back of his mind, he was like, oh, okay.
Then his father's voice.
Yeah,
And I love how they have, when the son comes up and asks, what's he doing here, what's going on, why is it so dark?
Yeah.
His son, if you notice in the movie, he's standing in the pool between
the
crocodiles
I saw,
in front of the mural
I noticed that, yes.
of all the children that Pharaoh had killed. And what was the next plague after this? The death of the firstborn child,
Man,
the firstborn son.
Yeah, that hurt me because it literally seemed like the light was like an actual human, like going door to door trying to find. I was like,
and you see the last soul come up, and that soul is Ramses' child.
Yeah. Oh, and this is another thing that Brad told me too. Like, I'll explain that one to me. Remember about the screens.
If you pay attention at the end, like after God's soul, after God's light, what you call it?
Yeah,
right?
light. Yeah.
After his light, his touch, his presence comes through Egypt, and he smites and takes the souls of the firstborn children. Immediately after that last soul comes up out of Pharaoh's palace, the last soul that is meant to be. And you have to pay attention because you don't see it.
No, it's quick.
But you see this small light come up into the bigger cloud.
Yes.
You hear the wailing of all the parents.
Yeah, I never.
Immediately afterwards.
I never I'm telling you, all my years watching that movie, I never paid attention to that until you mentioned it, and I had to tell him. We run it real quick, and I listened to it. I was like, yeah, they're all screaming.
And I've always heard the voices.
That was my first time ever hearing the voices. No, my guys.
And what makes it so tragic is that the scene before and after, Moses is desperately pleading with Ramses to let his people go because he knows that the next one coming will kill his son / Moses' nephew.
Yeah.
And Moses doesn't want that to happen.
No.
He truly does not. But he knows he cannot tell Pharaoh how to protect his kid. All he can tell him is just let them go and it stops.
Yeah, but again,
as far as Ramses is concerned, he's threatening his kid.
Yeah, but he don't want to be seen as the weakest link.
Yeah.
And it's just that arrogance and that pridefulness is just stuck in him.
Like he has a fantastic monologue in that moment. It's like, I will not take orders. I will not be dictated to. I am the morning and evening star. Okay, and it's like, okay, he really is just set. And the moment he says he's going to finish what his father started, Moses at that moment is like, you cannot be reasoned with. You bring this on yourself. And then immediately afterwards, who is the first person there to comfort Ramses when his son is gone? Moses. And Ramses can't take it because I think in that moment, Ramses, I don't think he realizes that this was his fault. I think he realizes that Moses was not joking.
Yeah, of course he wasn't joking. Yeah.
And he lets his people go. We have a fantastic singing montage with Michelle Pfeiffer and Sarah Drosky.
Yes.
And when you believe it, it's a fantastic song. I would argue up there with Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston's version.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Both those are amazing. They're on the soundtrack.
If
you can find it when you find it on iTunes. And all the Hebrews leave. Some of the soldiers leave with them.
Oh yeah, they do.
And Ramses has this moment where he's like, I'm gonna let them go, but then I'm gonna slaughter them later. You see the look of pure rage on his face.
No, that's all he can think about. Because again, it goes back to what you said. Like I'm telling you, Ramses thinks Moses is responsible for this.
Yeah.
But it's him.
It is all him, but he can't see past that.
Yeah.
And and once again, if you're religious, you can see that as Ramsey refusing to admit. As you know, in both instances, you can see that as a prideful man who's drunk on his own power, refusing to see fault in what he did.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, because again, he thinks himself as a god.
And once again, this is irrelevant of historical accuracy or what.
Yeah,
This is purely just the story being presented on the film, and it's honestly one of the best ones. And then you have the whole separating of the waves.
Oh, that was powerful.
That scene still gives me chills to this day.
Yeah, I was getting chill on that too. Even seeing the whales again.
Oh yeah.
I was like, whoa.
That is my favorite part because it gives you so much perspective on what's actually happening.
Yeah.
And then in the very, very end, I would argue that's the most heartbreaking scene.
Oh yeah.
Ramses is on the rocks calling out to Moses.
Yeah.
And I think we had two different interpretations of that scene.
Yeah, we did. I can't remember what our interpretation was of that. I can't remember. It was
because my interpretation was that was the moment when Ramses realized this truly is on him. He's lost the last thing that he truly found joy in, and that was his brother. And I think in your mind, I think your opinion was, what was your opinion again?
I can't remember, but I mean, if I had to guess, just based on what I remember that scene, I think about it now, I really think Ramsey still feel like Moses is still responsible for that.
Yeah.
But and again, I agree with what you're saying because at the time, I still see the pain in his eyes when he's saying his name.
Yeah.
I really feel also too he does feel like he is responsible for that.
This was the final screw up. He's basically my interpretation was at this point he's lost his son.
Yeah.
His father and mother are no longer around. His kingdom has crumbled around him. All he had left was revenge and anger in his eyes, and now that he can't get that, all he had left was his brother, and now he's gone too.
Yeah, he knows.
In one moment, he realized he's lost everything.
Yeah, everything, and it's really so sad and powerful. But you see what happens when arrogance and pridefulness takes over.
This is a Dreamworks movie, by the way.
Oh yeah, no Dreamworks. Yeah.
This is a movie aimed at young kids, and it's not. In my opinion, is not Christian propaganda.
No.
What it is an honest, genuine film made by people, acted by people, and produced by people who legitimately cared about conveying this story in a unique and approachable and universal way.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to me.
I can tell when something's appropriate or not, but this was very appropriate, and the actors did a good job bringing these characters alive. They really did. And then
there's some of the background details, like you see the pyramids of Giza in the background, some shots.
Yeah, I didn't notice until you told me. I was going, that's awesome. That's amazing.
And then you see some other ones where it's he painted a mustache on Pharaoh's effigy, and you can still see it in the background images too.
Yeah.
I think you still even see it in the scene a few decades later.
Yeah, no.
All the small stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man, and then the music's so fantastic. My favorite to this day is still Through Heaven's Eyes. Followed closely by When You Believe in Plagues. Yeah. And then Boyz II Men did a fantastic version of I Will Get There as an acapella.
Oh yeah.
They're both on iTunes, but you get a chance, look up Boyz II Men's I Will Get There music video.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's like this video of this black kid in the ghetto, and he sees this. He has this there's this wall blocking him off, and on the wall is clips from the movie. And this kid is trying to crack it, and he basically breaks through, and this light shines on him, and then everybody leaves the ghetto. It is a fantastic.
Wow, that's terrific, man. That's awesome.
If you get a chance, look it up. It should still be on YouTube. I watched it so many times growing up as a kid.
Okay.
So many times. I think every day while I was in middle school, I would watch at least 5 times when I get home. I'm not kidding.
Wow, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I definitely check that out.
And what about you? Have any personal favorites?
Yeah, the first one, number one is Through Heaven's Eyes. When You Believe is my second one. I really especially love the just the scene where he opened his arms out in the sand.
Yeah.
I
Oh
like,
yeah, that.
yeah.
Because and well, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I was gonna say, I was gonna like, just from my perspective, like, it just seemed like he was just giving himself up, like at that moment, he was just done with everything.
Yeah.
And he was been like, you know what, just take me.
Yeah, and that's what I got too. I got that at that point he's at the end of his rope.
Yeah.
And he's just like, you know what? I'm more than willing to die right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And he doesn't die. You know, he keeps going,
No.
but it's just the kind of stuff you see
Yeah,
in this movie. I think is the probably more, in my opinion, it is a stronger and much more real representation of the Bible than the Ten Commandments or the Passion of the Christ.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Yes, hands down, I agree with you.
And I get that I'm gonna get a lot of flack for that. I don't care.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, Passion of the Christ, the only thing that movie was interested in doing was it was Mel Gibson's power fantasy or his whatever it was
Yeah.
to make Jews look as evil as possible and just to see Jesus suffer. That's just one aspect of that story.
Yeah.
That's one aspect of that story. And
Yeah.
he focused too hard on it. Yes, you can make an argument that it's one of the most important ones, but it's not the most important.
Yeah,
It was everything leading up to that, and he just skipped past it because he wanted to show the Jews at the time, the Pharisees specifically, being evil.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why that movie is considered anti-Semitic. And then Ten Commandments once again was just
Yeah.
just about
I'm not gonna see that.
how cruel is Egypt and how big and bad is God. It's like that's just one aspect. You're not even cutting to the heart of the message, the core of the
No,
thing.
you're not.
You're just. It feels like you're just doing it because it feels less like here's a story from the Bible that we want to tell, and more of look at me, look at how devout I am. It's like nobody cares. Nobody cares how devout you are. What matters is, are you willing to depict this story in its core essence?
Yeah.
And this movie, I would argue, is the only one that I have seen that doesn't.
No, you're right. No, it is because Pastor Christ definitely did not do that.
No, it didn't.
And Ten Commandments, well, I can't speak like this. I never saw it, but it never interested me though.
That's all. You're not missing much.
Yeah.
You're not missing much.
No, I'm not surprised.
But yeah, that's what we're going to call it for today with Prince of Egypt.
Yeah.
Join us next week when we watch Escape Room.
Yeah.
Hot damn, that's going to be an interesting movie to watch.
Yeah.
All right.